Greetings to all you home workers out there today, all you people working in your houses. It's been a while since I've been in a situation like this where I've been working from home myself, more so than going to school, especially at this time of year. So I'm still getting used to it. I know you are too. Um, we may have to do this. We may be doing this for a while, much longer than they originally told us. They first told us that we were going to be doing this for a few weeks, couple weeks. Well, that deadline passed already. Then they pushed it back end of April. Now they're saying May 1st. And then yesterday, I heard the newscasters talking about we may have to be in a situation like this until they find a vaccine, which they're estimating would be about maybe 2022. So we may be doing this for a while. I will tell you, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, mainly because of the time thing, because of the doing it live, and you have to be at a certain place, all set up, ready to go at a certain time. That part is very, very difficult, and much more difficult than it would seem, especially doing it twice a day. If I was only doing it once a week, it'd be a lot easier. And at some point, we may cut back to once a week. But for now, we're doing it twice a day. So you are in luck. You're blessed. No less. So our main goal here is to try to help alleviate stress. We don't want to sit around here talking about COVID-19 all day and all the dire consequences and who's not doing what and what the government didn't do. We don't want to talk about all that. We want to talk about some other things, because life goes on in spite of whatever may be happening outside these walls that we're living in, these four walls that we live in, our four-cornered room. There are things happening in the world outside of these four walls, and there have been things happening outside of these walls, and there's going to continue to be things happening outside of these walls. This is not the end of the earth. So I'm going to start off today. I'm going to read from my book of African Proverbs. And as a rule, I don't like to talk about African proverbs in general as a whole, because it relegates it makes Africa. There is no book of European proverbs. Have you ever seen a book of European proverbs? No. Have you ever seen a book of Western proverbs? No. So they don't write books like that. They have a book of English proverbs or French proverbs. They always give it the name of a specific group of people. But in the case of Africa, things tend to get very dehumanized, very impersonal. But this one I don't have a choice with. Let me see if it says anything else in here. Gives me any other clues. Oh yeah, this is a proverb of the Ashanti people. And the Ashanti people in Africa, when they divided the continent up, they didn't pay attention to where people lived. And so a lot of times the lines between the boundary of one country and the boundary of another country, they might run right through your living room. So half of your family is in one country and the other half is in the other country. And don't let them shut that border down or put up a border wall, because y'all be in trouble. Okay? But that's how they did it. And so the Ashanti are primarily in Ghana, but you may find Ashanti in some Cote d'Ivoire, Ashanti in Togo, and also probably Liberia. Okay, some of those other countries, right around there in West Africa, you'll find some Ashanti or Akan people, if not Ashanti, in those other areas. The Akan is a group of languages. It's like the Indo-European language group, which consists of a bunch of different languages, but they're all similar. So this proverb here, I thought was very appropriate to start off today. When you follow in the path of your father, you learn to walk like him. Now, my mother and I, we have a very special relationship. I mean, everybody has a special relationship with their mom pretty much, but our relationship is a little different. But when my dad was around, when he was more uh, astute, intellectually astute. He was my main helper. I'd have him proofread things for me, and he'd always give me good advice, etc. Now, mom also gave good advice, and she's a very good proofreader, but I didn't depend on her as much. But with the way things are right now, things are as well as can be expected, and I depend on my mother a lot more than I do my dad. So she saw that yesterday in that book, and this is why I brought that up, is that a lot of times I will bring home books, or I will have books out, or I'll bring home a magazine, and I won't even bother to read it. I'll just set it on the kitchen table and wait for mom to read it, and then she'll tell me about things that she finds in there that she thought were interesting, and then that will inspire me to also look deeper into that book or pamphlet or whatever it is. Now, the when I was at Kent State, I majored in Pan-African Studies. And my father founded the department, so that had something to do with it. Really, it just had a lot to do with the way I was brought up. And I tried studying this, that, and the other things that I was interested in. But in the end, it just made life difficult because I would have my school studies. I would be studying Pan-African Studies on the side, so to speak. If I had, I could have a job. And then if I had any kind of female companionship or relationship going on, it was like I had 4 different jobs, and each one of them took some focus. So at one point I gave up, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna combine 2 of them at least together. I'm gonna combine my school and my private studies together, study Pan-African Studies, and then I ended up working in the department also. So that way I combined 3 things together: the work, the where I made my money, and the private studies, the Pan-African Studies was one and the same with what I was studying in school. So I could combine 3 together. That just made life a whole lot easier. Well, one of the courses that I took at Kent State, I took it with Professor Tim Moore, and he was he's a graphic designer. So his main function in the department was to design all of the logos and flyers, posters. He put those things together, and I learned a lot about that from him. Some of my artistic skills, he helped to nurture those skills when I was in college. But the other thing that I did with him is I took a class, and this is the title of the class. It was, I don't know if you can see it real clear there. The name of the class was Survival in the 21st Century. Survival in the 21st Century. And so here we are now, living in the 21st century. When I took this class, I used to dream about living in the 21st century. Didn't know if I'd ever make it to the 21st century. And as a matter of fact, a number of my friends didn't make it. So in the next few minutes that I have here, because our time was quickly running out, I had a copy. My dad had a copy. Somehow both copies seemed to have disappeared. So I just went and bought me a brand new copy online. I got this off of Amazon just a couple of days ago. And oftentimes I read books like they're in Arabic. And so in Arabic books, you don't read from you don't start on the page that's on the left and go to the right. You start on the page that's on the right and you go to the left. So I actually will turn the book to what we consider to be the last page, and I read from the last page. So the last page in this book I thought was very significant. My timer is going to go off here in a minute. Don't let that weed you out. Okay. First thing I read here on the very last page of this book. This book was written in and the original copy was written in what did it say? Doesn't tell me. Tells me everything but that. Can't tell. No copyright date there. I can easily see. All right. But I took the class in the 1970s or early 1980s, one of the two. So first page starts, has on it flu, plague, protection, strong immune system. Here's what it says to do. Try enzymes, probiotics, natural cellular defense, and blue-green algae, as well as a smile, laughter, and avoidance of fear. Enzymes, by ingesting enzymes, the natural killer cells increase by as much as 1,300%. When he says natural killer cells, he's talking about the ones that kill off any kind of viruses or bacteria, harmful bacteria. The natural killer cells increase by as much as 1,300% and macrophages by 700%. And he quoted that from Dr. Leskovar. A Korean dish may cure bird flu. Well, bird flu, swine flu, the so-called coronavirus, all of those are coronaviruses. There are many of them that we have experienced. SARS, MERS, they come with different, each one they give a different name. This one is COVID-19. But humans have been experiencing coronaviruses forever, mainly because we're in close contact with animals. Oftentimes people still today live with their animals. And I'm not talking about in Africa and daggone India. I'm talking about when I go to the fair, I see some of the children laying down in the stalls with their horses. Okay? So we're not talking about some other place that you don't know about. I'm talking about right here in Sacramento, California. I'm talking about right here in the good old US of A. So because of that, we have a tendency to contract these diseases from time to time. So Korean dish may cure bird flu. And then he lists off some websites, et cetera, to go to find out more about that. One of them is called How Can I Boost My Immunity to Bird Flu? That is the name of if you type that in on Google, do a search for that, you should be able to come up with the website. And then I'm going to go back the paragraph right before that one, or the section right before that. The whole section is entitled Avian Flu, Plagues, and Enzymes. In the past, the major environmental challenge has been toxic microbes, the bubonic plague. That was also called Black Death, which I don't like that term, so I usually don't use it because I don't know why it had to be black. Why couldn't it be the White Death? It didn't kill nothing but white folks, so why is it the Black Death? I don't understand that. In the bubonic plague in 1350 killed over 50% of the people of Europe, 25 million people. In 1918, a global influenza wiped out over 11 million people, with hundreds of thousands dying in the USA. Today, germs are the 5th leading cause of death. According to the government, over 100,000 patients die in hospitals due to infections. I take it he means per year. I'm not sure. He doesn't say. But he does say you can find more information about this in an article in the Reader's Digest published November 1999. They did an extensive article on, quote, coming soon, the next great flu epidemic and how to prepare for these, quote unquote, killer viruses. Over the years, scientists wondered why some people survived and others died under the germ attack. Finally, thanks to advances of science and technology, it has become clear that most people succumb to ailment and accelerated aging due to what? Weakened immune systems. The immune system function is to fight off all foreign invaders in the body, such as viruses, carcinogens, radiation, bacteria, and all foreign chemicals. It relies almost totally on enzymes to do its job. A weakened immune system has a diminished volume of enzymes due to high stress on the system by all the chemicals and microbes, as well as due to diets lacking in enzymes and, last but not least, the high stress of life. And that's what I saw that I could do in these troubling times, is try to relieve some stress. So I'm sorry, that sounded kind of stressful, and it sounded more like it was dealing with COVID-19, but it's not, because I'm not focused on that. What I am focused on, what I want you to focus on, what I want us to focus on is strengthening our immune system. So you mentioned ways to do that with probiotics and different, and taking things like the blue-green algae. And he also mentioned it in terms of our diet, looking at our nutritional plan, actually having one, as opposed to just, You eat whatever you see and you smell that smells good. And then third, he mentioned reducing the stress in our lifestyles. And so that has to do with some meditation, some yoga, storytelling with your children, do things like that. So tonight, we're going to have a watch party, 7 p.m. We're going to watch the finished production piece I did on John Henry. I call it the John legend you never knew. And then, so we'll be doing a watch party on that, 7 p.m. And then we'll come back with story time at 9 o'clock like we have been doing. Sorry, our time is all run out. And without a doubt, I hope I made somebody shout. It is lunchtime, so I don't know what you're eating for lunch today, but I hope it's something really good. You know, you can always grow something fresh in your house without soil, without costing a lot of money, because you can always sprout. So remember to sprout. I will be doing some videos on sprouting as well as getting back in the kitchen and putting out some more videos on things we can do to strengthen our immune system. So look for that. It's coming your way. Peace out, without a doubt. See you next time.